Reds, take two. Apologies if you joined that earlier stream. We had a few sound difficulties, but hopefully you can hear us now. Do all let us know if you can hear. It has to be every one of you. I need a wall of yes. The sound is working, so we're feeling good. But listen, we're feeling good anyway because it is Champions League final day. Liverpool are away at PSG tonight, and it's an exciting game. It's a massive game, isn't it, Craig? Maybe some have argued a little bit too big for the stage. Should we have got an easy draw, having vanquished everyone, finished top of that mad 87-team league that happened in the Champions League? But listen, I'm over that now.
Yeah, it was proper for me.
It says very low volume, says it sounds a bit low. Let's keep
Okay.
going, John.
We'll keep going, sorry. It's massive.
It's huge. A little bit more glamorous than what we would have hoped or expected at this stage of the competition, but I'm bang into it. Like I think there's been a lot of talk, and Luis Enrique did in his press conference around the idea that Liverpool are the best team in Europe, and that's who they're going to face. Like, this is the kind of tie that Liverpool get to show that is the case.
So John, can you hear
We're flying in the league. We're in the cup final, but really, if that sort of label's going to be put on the team at this sort of early stage in
the comments are really negative,
then you need to prove it in this competition, and it's the biggest of them all. So I'm really, really, really excited about it. It feels strange in that, like, throughout my time supporting Liverpool, my life supporting Liverpool, very rarely has it felt like Liverpool were the contenders, the ones that everyone sort of expected to go far in the competition. It's always been the underdogs. There's always been underdog stories, but Liverpool are favourites, and I'm gutted I'm not there, but I'm so excited to watch the game.
Yeah, if you lot have gone over at the moment, enjoying a beer already, so they're over there so you can follow them on the social and things like that. But we are here, and we'll be doing all our stuff from Liverpool tonight. But
it's working now.
It does feel, Neil, like there is real possibilities. It was interesting watching the games last night because, funny enough, none of the home teams have ended up sort of out of it. None of the away teams have ended up out of it. A couple of the home ones won. I thought the results that Arsenal and Villa got were a real reminder of just how strong our league is, and you did something really good last week with Rory Smith just on the strength of the Premier League and how sometimes it can be undersold a little bit based on whatever it is that we want, agenda people want to push it at that time. But it's a massively strong league, and I think that was shown last night, because you can say Bruges aren't amazing or whatever, but I don't think Lille are amazing. And then they draw with Dortmund. The Madrid tie was always going to be a close one, but the way that the two English teams swept aside two sides who were there on merit in this stage of the competition and beat them in Arsenal's case 7-1, I think is a real reminder of the strength of our league.
I think what the league offers is consistently having to play at a certain tempo, and I think where PSV and Bruges, but I would argue Paris Saint-Germain, I would even argue to an extent Real Madrid, is that Real Madrid I think are in a bit of a sweet spot. Real Madrid have probably got, domestically, say 16 pretty high tempo games a year where you've got to be at it. We've got about 28. Arsenal have got about 28, where you got every single time you play in those games, home or away, if you're off it, you will be punished, as Arsenal have found themselves recently. And I think that offers that idea of being able to go to a certain level. And PSV, Bruges can't go to that level, I think, anyway, generally. But also, they're not practiced in it. They're not doing it week in, week out. They used to be the best team because they're in the Champions League for a reason. And suddenly, Arsenal sweep into town. One, Arsenal are better. Two, Arsenal can play at a pace they can't cope with. So they're not going to do a big, mad, low block thing, because week in, week out, they don't do that. They don't know how.
Yeah.
And so you win.
And in the heads, they're like, we're playing at home and we've got to go to their place.
So we need to
get something.
We need to get something. So listen, I want to be clear about this. I think that Paris Saint-Germain are one of the most dangerous opponents Liverpool could get at any stage in this competition. I think they're actually a side who look like they could play at a tempo that could take the game away from Liverpool, and I genuinely think they could be the only team in Europe of whom that's the case. I'm not annoyed about the draw, because what I would say is that Liverpool, the benefit of the way the draw's gone is Liverpool are getting Villa or Bruges in the next round, probably Villa. It's a team we played twice this season, beat them 2-0 at Anfield, 2 all away from home where we were the better sides, if we're honest about it. The point being is that we're going to have a more straightforward quarter-final. Arsenal have got PSV, but they're getting Atletico Madrid or Real Madrid. So I'd rather, in a way, I'd almost rather have it the other way around.
If you get knocked out early.
Yeah, because then we can concentrate on the league and go from there and get that job done to completion. So I would rather have it this way around anyway. But also, it's also sport. The crying's been really doing me head in. You know, you're trying to create a thing, obviously, which works a certain way. But in everything, you go to World Snooker as a snooker fan, there's always an easier quarter or an easier half of the draw. When people talk about the darts, it's seeded to fuck. But there'll be someone who'll come out and say, you know what, Van Gerwen's got a really nice run to the semis. Oh, well, should they all should have? No, that's not how this works in this instance. Sometimes that's the way seedings go. There's no such thing as an unbelievably crisp draw in any sport and competition. You can run into the wrong team at the wrong time. You could, there could have been a universe where PSV had terrible injury issues for the first 4 games, won the final 4, and suddenly that's the way it goes, and then you get them. Well, it's sport. It's this hunt for perfection that people have decided that they wanted, and I think it's a little bit the fault of the presentation. Well, we're doing it this way because it's going to do X, Y, or Z. Forget that. Tonight, it's muck and bullets. It's serious shit. If Liverpool play well tonight, they've got a great chance of getting to a Champions League semi-final. That's a great sentence to be able to say. It's a great sentence.
And we're in great position going into it in terms of form and in terms of player availability. The only one's Cody Gakpo. I don't think he'd have started anyway, and I think if you've got Gakpo touch and go, obviously Conor Bradley is out at the moment as well, but that's more of an issue for Saturday, I think, than it is for tonight. I think Trent would have started, and so I think he'll be able to pick what he thinks is his best team for this specific game, tonight, and that's a wonderful position for a manager to be in.
Yeah, massively. If we're talking about Liverpool being one of the best teams in Europe, is because they've got one of the best squads in Europe. And I know people want more transfers, and I want more transfers, and saying that on YouTube's bold.
Real Madrid only had 8 subs last night, by the way.
But Liverpool have options, and they've shown that at different times through the season. This is a proper football team that we're coming up against, and I talked about the mystique and it being this big fixture that you can really gets the blood flowing, doesn't it? I love all of that. I'd rather that than Bruges and just sort of walking into it thinking Liverpool are going to win this. Like, this is what you're in the Champions League for, is to beat the best teams. If you think you're the best team, you need to beat the best teams. And PSG look like a side who were previously their teams have flattered to deceive because of the names and the superstars in it. Like, this looks like a proper football team, so let's have it. And yeah, you're right on the squad point. I think there's real options in terms of what he does, whether he does the old 4 midfielders like we've seen a couple of times, where it's like the 2 10s, like the way at City. Yeah. I think City might end up being a bit of a blueprint for him and sort of help that idea along. It also is a good show to the team that they're able to sort of, when a team has more possession than what they do, that they're able to sit back and soak up pressure and get through it. And this PSG side looked like a better side than Man City. They beat them recently, but it's still, this is, there's opportunities there. If PSG are going to have most of the ball in the way that they did against Manchester City, then Liverpool can break and hurt them. So big tie, big team, but Liverpool are the best. So
PSG, ultimately, the other part of this is PSG will have thought I think they were a pot 1 team. They'll have thought we should be finishing first 8. They don't want this against Liverpool.
Yeah, it's a worst tie for them.
Yeah, they've been stitched. Now, listen, why it doesn't feel quite like that is they got to the point where it was Liverpool or Barcelona. And that's obviously not quite what they want to be about either. So they've ended up with Liverpool or Barcelona. So for them, it's a little bit like, well, it's not. I believe we're better than Barcelona at the minute, so it's not quite 6-1, half dozen of the other, but it's not so bad. Whereas for us, it was PSG or Benfica. So I understand why people were a bit like, and I do think genuinely in the round, I think the other half of the draw is friendlier. I feel as though it's a really open other half of the draw. I think if we were in that half, in Barcelona's half, I'd be looking at that thinking, that's a good place to be. I'm almost more annoyed by that, if you know what I mean.
Especially with the 2 German teams playing each other.
Yeah, but the way in which that whole half is sort of has broken apart, I think that is the friendlier half of the draw by a little bit of a distance. But again, that's literally the way it goes from time to time. And to the idea of it's meant to be like this is what we want, it's what we're in it for. The year we win it, we had Bayern Munich in the last 16, and then we had Porto in the last 8.
And wasn't it the best?
And it was fucking brilliant when we went to Bayern Munich and got a result. And also it was a good
show.
And it was a real coming of age for that team.
Yeah.
And I think there was a bit of that at City, where I think at City there was that sort of shift from, and they weren't, in the general perception anyway, they weren't that far away from us all being convinced these are serious footballers who are very focused on winning above all else. I think we were already there on that, if you know what I mean. But City then took it to another level. That Bayern Munich win 3-1 in amongst that run of games Liverpool had back in 18-19. It is a massive part of what creates the whole of 2019 when they do everything that they do. And this is the same here. I think if they go there tonight and they are what we think they can be, they go there and they're better, And they can be better in any one of a number of ways. If they're better in terms of the scoreboard, brilliant. But if they go there, it's tight, they look better than them, we come out with a draw, then we're all looking at Anfield next week going, yep, let's go, let's have these. Southampton, the weekend is as kind as it could possibly be. You know, that's broken for us as well. It's our 38th most difficult league game at the weekend, and you'd only play 38 of them. This is it. So we're in a great position. And honestly, tonight, I am so excited about it. I think it's massive. I just think it's huge. I think if they can just, as I say, if they can get through the first 20 and there'll be a patch in the second half, that's when they took it away from City. They were brilliant second half. And also the crowd. I did something with Tom Williams, both for Canal Plus, and also he did something with us. And one of the things that struck me listening to that, it was a very not continental crowd. It was a very Premier League crowd. Yeah. It was very...
Oh yeah, they have it more than you think, because you think, oh, it's a glamour club and stuff like that. They got, you know, it's pretty rough and ready there. Like we went, didn't we? And it's quite like, oh, okay.
Yeah. So I think it will be, you know, they're very influenced by the action. Someone puts a big tackle in, they're in. Yeah. Someone does a good bit of play, they're in. It's none of your sort of coming and entertaining stuff. I think they're desperate to be all in. And I think tonight they'll be desperate to see this young, exciting team, which they are, by the way. Tons of pace. They'll be looking to see them, see if they can go and land one on Liverpool. And they'll be building it up as well. I think it's the tie of the round. I really do. I think that the Madrid thing just feels a little bit like it feels almost a bit too local, a bit too down to them, parochial almost in a way. This is the tie of the round. This is the glamour tie across the two of them, and I fucking love glamour ties. I'm all about glamour.
I also love this stage of the season.
I'm not wearing glitter.
I love this stage of the season. I mean, particularly whenever you're 13 points clear and you got a cup final ahead. But this is the point where John said the word possibilities, and that's something we've been saying on our social loads. Is that it's just all of the possibilities are available this season, and you know it's a funny one going into this tie, because for the first time in maybe 6 years, I've been going into this away game and thinking I'll have an old school Liverpool go in, they take a draw and they take them back to Anfield sort of mentality. If they win and they scrape one, brilliant. If they don't scrape one and they wallop them, even better. My God, that's dreamland. But you know, I would take an old school sort of Benitez, like you go there, you get the draw, you get out.
I want the French newspapers writing scathing articles about Liverpool. Shit on a stick.
But I think it's times two.
But I think what you said is interesting around this team sort of helping understand with themselves where they are in terms of that journey, and Bayern Munich being like a moment for that team, because for this team, like we've got a really experienced sort of back five that you know will really help us in a game like tonight. But then you've also got players like Gravenberch and Szoboszlai and these players who haven't sort of gone far in this competition before, and so they're still trying to work out. There's a lot of debate around on the overlap and things like that around like how does this team compare to the 1920 season and all of that. Well, the 1920 team were sort of further on in the journey, weren't they? They'd gone through sort of, you know, they got the Champions League finals, they won the Champions League and all of this. So this is almost like the first litmus test in this competition for this team to work out, right, are we here? Are we here? Are we the best team and the favourites? Because, you know, you look around you and there aren't many others really that are setting Europe alight. Are we the best team because we've gone to PSG and got a big result and then we're ready for everyone else in our path?
That's a very good point Craig makes, like, because, you know, people love comparisons. You know, they love comparisons between areas, players. You know, who's better, this or that, and I sort of largely can't be arsed with it, to be honest with you, Neil. But I'd rather just enjoy watching the footballers I'm watching. But Craig's point, I think, there was a good one on like the idea of you talk about where will this season fit in with other seasons, and that's all up for grabs. But that's great. You know, we've watched Liverpool teams where the season's been over by now. Do you know what I mean? And it's like it's done. You know, you might have, are we going to get the Champions League or not? But that's never seemed like a particularly exciting prize for me. That's just you know, a bit of admin that you need to sort for the next season. And so the fact that the league title is all but won, the fact that, you know, we are in a cup final, the fact that the Champions League, there are possibilities, is brilliant. And this team will ultimately be judged by what it does over the next 3 months. But it's got a fantastic opportunity to be judged alongside some of the very best in terms of what they can do.
Some of the greatest Liverpool sides, you know, there's lots and lots of. I've been doing repeatedly trying to think of previous league seasons, not just involving Liverpool, that this team reminds me of, but one in there that is Liverpool is 83-84. Fagan succeeding Paisley, gets a treble, wins the League Cup as the first trophy over the course of the season. A funny league run where all the way through, every time it looks as though Liverpool might just make a bit of an error, the side chasing them in second place makes a bigger error. So Liverpool ends up sort of keeping them at arm's length all the way through the campaign. Much smaller gap than the one we've got now, to be honest, by the end of it. But Liverpool do the business. Inspirational captain, having the season of his life. goal scorer, setting all sorts of records. Ian Rush scores 49 goals in that season in 83-84 for Liverpool. Graham Souness is unbelievable, and then they win the European Cup, going to the stadium of the team that they're playing, but Bayern Munich are still in it. You know, you can go through all of this,
and on the other side of the draw,
and on the other side of the draw. So you can go through all of this and see those and see those parallels in there as well. And that is, but that is what it is to be a great Liverpool team. To be a great Liverpool team means you're going up against Joe Fagan's treble winners with Graham Souness, Ian Rush, Kenny Dalglish, Alan Hansen, Bruce Grobbelaar, Steve Nicol. You know, these were serious footballers, and this is the company you're keeping, and that's what's there for them. But to do the other parallel, the Klopp parallel, listen, I think there was a bit of a thing where you had a big question what last season was. Was last season, was 23-24, 16-17 or 17-18? And I was of the view it was 17-18. I was of the view this was a team that was just coming to the boil, was still full of exuberance, but was ready to come and be serious. Yeah. And the team in 18-19 goes on a journey where it shifts from being the free-scoring, free-wheeling team of the year before that made the Champions League final but came fourth, to one that becomes with a deadly serious team over the course of that season. And by 2019, they're about to have an incredible year. And that's where the Munich thing comes back in again. In the last 16, they go away, and there you are. You get it all, and you go, oh my God, these are the boys. This is it now. We are as good as it's almost possible to be. And as I say, that's what's there for them tonight. So there is these parallels, and I'm all right with parallels as long as you don't hang teams with them. Like one of the things of comparing, I once did a thing on 606 with Chris Sutton, and Chris Sutton said of some Liverpool team, I was in 21-22, and he said the thing is though they're not doing the business the way the 1920 team were. And I said, Chris, no one's ever done the business like that. it's like they won 26 out of the first 27. It's ridiculous. Like no one's ever going to win 26 out of the first 27 again. So you've got to get off the bat. You know what you can't do is end up hanging any team with ridiculous bars that are practically impossible to clear. That's not the job. Can this team be an all-time great Liverpool team, which, by the way, places it high in the running for all-time great teams worldwide ever? Yeah, it can. And it can do this season. And then what should be terrifying for everyone, I'd argue, is it's got room to grow. There's other question marks around that, obviously.
Yeah, obviously. That can't be going. Craig, what about you?
It's rev my engine, John. I love it when Neil talks to me dirty like that.
I would describe Craig's engine as easily revved. So, you know, but that got us all going. Hopefully it got you going as well. If you need more getting going, you can get that on the Anfield Wrap app. So there's loads of great content that is looking ahead to this game. So there's press conference extra. The honest lot press conference was really interesting, actually. I haven't listened to press conference extra yet. I'm interested to get their take on it. I thought him saying that he wanted Liverpool's best performance of the season so far was a really nice quote, and same, Arne, that would be good. But I thought that was really telling, and it fits into what we were talking about there, about, you know, the team stepping up and big teams stepping up in the big moments, and I think they will do that tonight, and I think Arne Slot does as well. So there's pre-match warm-up, Under the Lights, the European version that is out there as well. There is press conference extra. There's loads of stuff that's looking ahead. And then straight after the game tonight, audio and video, we'll be doing our fantastic reaction to what I'm sure will be, well, we hope will be a fantastic Liverpool performance and result. So make sure you are subscribing, download the app and get stuck in, because we think we preview and review games for Liverpool better than anyone else. I'm going to get some comments from Neil on that in a second. We're also then going to talk about the FA released quotes on what Arne Slot did, and slightly disputes. He said to the referee, Sipka as well, can't keep him out the action, get him a mural. Fuck set piece coaches. Sipkin is the one for me. Walking around following refs, calling them shit. He is my man. So we're going to be talking about that, having some fun around that. Also, I'm going to get Neil to read out some of your comments on the PSG game and anything else people are talking about. But before all that, I do want to give a huge shout out to NordVPN, who are partnering with us for this one of Talking Reds, and it's a fantastic service. I use it a lot. We're doing lots of travelling. We're going to Australia. We're doing some live shows. Buy your tickets now. There's still tickets available for Adelaide and for Perth, and we're really looking forward to getting out there. But I've got some work to do when I'm out there, unfortunately, so I'm going to be logging on to internet cafes and places I don't know, so it's always good to have that internet security.
That's got work to do.
Unfortunately. So it's always good to have that extra bit of security and peace of mind when you're logging in to public Wi-Fi's in places that you don't necessarily know. Also, I need to obviously keep in touch with UK Gladiators, so I've got something to talk to my son about it, so I'm going to be watching that and letting him know, oh yeah, it was a shame that Joe got knocked out. Yeah, I know he was from the Whittle, Ted, but he was all right. That sort of thing. Conversations, sorry for the spoilers. And so things like that, so we're going to be discussing. So it allows us to do that. But a big thing I know for a lot of you who do enjoy your sport is that it allows you to switch your virtual location at the click of a button. It's so easy. I could manage to do it, and opens up a world of streaming services. So maybe there's a couple of games that are on, or a couple of sporting events that are on at 3 o'clock on a Saturday that aren't on the telly where you live but are somewhere else, where you can change your virtual location, access it through another streaming service, and it opens it all up for you. And isn't that fantastic? So it's nordvpn.com/TAW. They've got loads of fantastic offers just for you if you go through that link. So 4 extra months. I think it's on 10 devices at the moment as well. So it is a really excellent service, and I know a lot of you do enjoy it because you've told us. So nordvpn.com/TAW, and we'll see you in Australia if you are coming. Neil, anyone said anything?
Yeah, there's loads of little bits and pieces. There's some poor lad who's just really concerned Salah's not going to sign a new contract. I think he will, mate. So, and if he doesn't, we'll be all right in the long run. But he's also my favourite player. So, just want to reassure you there, and we'll go from there. Don't be worrying too much in there as well. Andrew Smith says we need to silence the crowd tonight. I think it is a bit of old school European stuff there. I quite like to see that happen and go from there. Someone's asked if it was a Big Lebowski reference before. It was indeed. Don't you worry about that. Always on top of the details and go from there. Where are we? The Wolfman's Gonads says that John's tracky top is top.
I get a lot of compliments for my tracksuit tops.
Yeah, says colourful jumper on me. Craig just got up.
Have that. He's been up for hours. He was texting me at 6:15. The man cunt. He is.
Someone has to do the work around here. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. That's his working gear. He's slogging down the marketing mines. Got the canary with him. Got his pickaxe to market.
You do dress quite marketing.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you just have to go and have an informal one with the boys and go from there.
This is me and Tom Beanbags.
So, he honestly carries them with him at all times.
Usually, I always have a retort, and I don't. No one's ever said that to me before. Anyway.
There we are.
I didn't mean it.
There's a bit of Guard of Honour chat, and someone said let's pack on with the Guard of Honour chat. I'm with that as well. I think the thing to do at the minute is to do the job one stage at a time. Southampton's massive at the weekend, and then we come back, and the first league game back after the international break will be the Merseyside derby at Anfield, which I don't want anyone get carried away about. Is a matter of life and death. And John, I think the Liverpool manager will agree, given everything. These hugely entertaining quotes.
So I haven't heard these. I'm getting live, which sounds mad because of the place of work, but I've been working on something else, so I've been not on social media and wasn't on it last night, so this is all new to me. So
okay,
live.
So this is from the written report of what happened has sort of come out. I'll skip through a little bit. Arne Slot, AS, for this. AS's manner was confrontational and aggressive. It was alleged he initially used abusive words while shaking the referee's hand, including that the referee had fucking give them everything true. And that AS, I love the initial of Arne Slot, just say, hope that the referee was proud of that performance. The referee therefore confirms that he was approached again by AS around 1 minute later. In this exchange, AS once again shook the referee's hand and said, "This is my favourite. If we don't win the league, I'll fucking blame you."
Unbelievable. That was nice Arne Slot.
Yeah. And twice shouted that it was a fucking disgrace. As a result of his conduct, he was shown a red card by the referee. Which I liked. And then Sipka, you've got to watch him. Little loon, confronted the referee in an extremely aggressive manner, said the referee was fucking shit and gave them everything, and he was a fucking disgrace. So there you are, what a fella. But I feel like we all need to start adding these terms to our day-to-day vocabulary. So next time someone's messing you around, just say to them, if we don't win the fucking league,
I'm blaming you.
Yeah. What a fella.
What I love about it was genuinely in his pre-match press conference for the derby, and at the time I was a bit like, I think you talked about how last season I've watched the game back and we gave away 10 free kicks in the first 10 minutes, and I'm just going to say to everyone, it's just important we all keep it calm. It's just important we all keep it calm. And then genuinely, and I mean this with love to all parties, apart from possibly Michael Oliver, but even then, and then Goodison Park happens. And by the way, we do pretty well under the circumstances. We're 2-1 up with 30 seconds to go. We've seen off most of the threat, and then that happens, and the manager clearly has lost his fucking mind. Yeah. And I'm into it in that, I think I like the idea of, Jonathan Liu wrote something great in the aftermath of that game, that you can, you want to try and tame the game, and I think a lot of what Slot's always about it is. We just got to sort of keep calm in the moments and this and that and that. And he's gone from the man saying, we don't want to give away too many free kicks early, to going and confronting referees on 2 separate occasions and fucking telling them, you gave them everything, you're shit and you're a fucking disgrace and you're going to cost me this league. I love it. In that, I love it while simultaneously saying it's obviously not. I'm sure he said, when he does the quotes yesterday, in the press conference, he does say, it's not the best version of me, that. But it's good that that's still what the game can do at all. Genuinely, I think it's a really good thing that's what, as long as you don't take it too far in a sort of Arsenal supporter way, it's good that that's what the game can do in all of its ways, that it can sort of get the blood pumping like that. And as I say, I did always feel as though his whole, oh yeah, my team won't be giving away daft free kicks at Goodison Park thing was completely overstated, because, I am of the view, and I'm also all right with this as well, I don't want people to think I'm not, I've been of the view for years, when we go to Goodison we get fucking nothing. I'm all right with going away, where I get annoyed, I get much more annoyed with the referees at Anfield, because I feel a bit like, can we have that evens out? The thing where the home team gets everything when we go away from home, can we have everything when we play at home? That'd be lovely. Yeah. I'm all right with the idea that an atmosphere, a big ground, a big atmosphere drives people insane, a big game, that's what we want. I was in the stand, I was going insane, but I'd just like it to work for us a bit more in our place, rather than have referees go, oh, I'm not going to be swayed by the famous Anfield crowd. I'll make you've got Mo Salah in a headlock, that's not a free kick. All of that sort of stuff. But yeah, I'm made up with it. I love it.
I think we might have to do a 5-part documentary series about Arne Slot off the back of those quotes. That's unbelievable.
When they came out yesterday, I nearly grabbed you and said we need to go downstairs and talk about it, but I could see you absolutely chocker. And Neil was sort of elsewhere. He'd have been my guy on this, definitely. I wanted to go through it line by line and go, what are we going to say? I
like how he's been worn down. Like, it happens to all of us, mate. Don't worry about it. It's happened to you.
Or someone's lit a bonnie under him and he's just like raring to go. I'm with Neil, I'm into it. I don't really want a sort of a robot fellow. I love that he's sort of got passion, and I also think it's just dead funny that he can't have a go at Curtis Jones, because Curtis Jones has fought 3 Evertonians, and if he looks at him he's just going to go, lad, come on. Do you want me to get your report out? You haven't done one for me.
I like the idea that he gets in the change room and he says, you should have seen what Curtis has done, and he goes, he's right, Curtis.
One of them, innit?
Yeah. Us and you against the world, man.
Yeah. We'd all had a pint. Yeah. And stuff happened. Listen, Arne Slot, I'd offer to have a whip round for your fan, but I'm sure you can afford it, and I'm sure you've got plenty more days to come, and tonight could be really special. Listen, that's been Talking Reds. Hope you've enjoyed it. Do let us know in the comments. Do share, tell your friends, and do come and join us. Not literally, there's not enough room in the pub, but metaphorically afterwards for the game as well. For the guys who are out there in Paris, enjoy, stay safe, and bring back not quite 3 points, but a fantastic 1 foot in the next round would be lovely. Thanks a lot to Nord. Give us a shout in Australia if you come in. I think that's everything.
That's everything. Sorry about the sound stuff at the start, we'll sort that.
You're fine. Up to Reds.
Bring your digital life to a whole new level with NordVPN. Choose the fastest VPN on the planet and explore the internet without interruption.